All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Cards and Coffee. This one is a long time coming. With me today is a special guest, Michael, also known now as Cool Card Life. And for me, when I came into the hobby, for anybody else that's been here for a couple years now, and he also used to be known, at least on eBay, as Marvel Beckett Registry.
That's
How's it
right.
going, Michael? How are you, man?
Really good, man. I appreciate you asking me to be on. I really do. I really
No, I appreciate you agreeing to be on. I mean, like I said, I wanted to reach out for a while, but I wanted to get a couple reps in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Get
Hey,
used to this.
I'm new to it too, man. I started a couple of years ago with the video, so I get it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and let's start off with that, man. Now, being in the hobby myself around 3 years now, that first video you dropped with Justin Spidey Hits was the crib, right? The tour around your home,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for that, by the way, for a lot of reasons, and you'll remember one when I bring it up. But one of the reasons is I was going to ask you was in regards to like sourcing, because one of the things I appreciate about the way you do your collection is you really dig for obscure stuff. Like you're not just just for the main, with the things that everybody goes for, ABCs. Like
Yeah.
you're really digging in for cards. Are you still sourcing at this point, or do you just have so much inventory that all you're doing now is just grading that inventory?
God, that goes in waves, man. Right now, I've got so much inventory. I'm not really sourcing and on the hunt for too many things. But in a month or two, yeah, that'll all change. I'll be on the hunt for some rare stuff for sure. And that's up and down throughout the year. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I'm curious on that because like shout out to Doomcard and Sergio, where I do that NSDC podcast with. We
Yeah.
really enjoy the digging aspect, right? Like the searching, going
Oh,
into those rabbit holes on eBay.
so awesome. Yeah.
How many hours do you think you put in nowadays just scrolling on eBay? What you don't have to tell us the
Well,
secrets and how you
no, I mean, I don't mind sharing it. I'm probably at 10, 15 minutes a day, but like I said, that's seasonal. I mean, I might go a few months, right? An hour a day. So, but the last couple of months, it's been about 10, 15 minutes a day on average looking for stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, one of the first things I learned from you as well was I learned about the Chicken Purdue promos.
Yeah.
And then you kind of hinted at the beginning. I think you didn't even know at first, at least 2 years and change ago, about those the Japanese Armada
I
X-Men
didn't.
cards, right?
Yeah.
Because
When
you
I
had bought the X-Men, you mentioned what you bought it for, but you didn't know where it came from or
no
anything at the time.
idea. Yeah. So that was one of those finds that just got me really excited and kind of blew my mind. Like, wait, what? 94 X-Men and they're rare and there's prisms. I'm like, and they grade really well if you buy them out of a pack. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, those are awesome cards. And I was telling you earlier a little bit off camera was that you make it really hard for yourself in the way you approach the hobby, right?
Right.
Because I feel like the two toughest roads thus far that I've seen in the hobby is like the character collector road, like a Norin, right? That
Right.
wants to pick up every single card.
Right.
That's tough. But then also you're like, I want every single card, but I also want it in a 9.5.
I know, man. I know. It's like this. It's like Lexus, the constant pursuit of perfection. I'll never like quote arrive and have every card I want, but if I stop when I'm 90 or in a few years, either way, it'll be fun, the journey, right? And then to look at what you've built when you get there, whatever that looks like, right? So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Now, let me ask you in regards to that, because obviously, as many people know, Beckett has subgrades. When you're chasing these 9.5s, are you going for true gem mints, quad 9.5s, or you're okay with 3 9.5s and a 9?
perfectly fine with 3 9.
Okay. So you're not too crazy then.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if when and if I get to the point of taking the time to do this, I am going to go back and try to get pristine 10s or higher 9.5s, but that's not on the radar right now. That's down the road. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, how many tries usually on average do you try a card for a 9.5, and then once it hasn't gemmed for you by X try, like do you put that on hold? If you give me an example of that.
Great question. If it's not something I have to have just once or twice, but
Okay.
if it's something I'm trying to build a set or it's a really important key one to me, over and over and over again, like, I mean, the most I've ever tried is probably 10 to 12-ish. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good amount. That's a good amount.
Yeah.
Now, how'd you get started yourself? Like, what was the first set that caught your eye?
92 Masterpieces, man, was magical to me. not anything, but it was like, as a kid, those cards, I mean, that was the best. It's like any magical, amazing toy or TV show. It was the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, 92.
Was it the Battle Spectra Wolverine Sabretooth card in
That's
particular?
definitely my top 2 or 3 all time, no doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt. I mean, that Spider-Man base card and the Wolverine base card and then the Battle Spectra, unbelievable, man. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's the set that got me in. For me, it was the Thanos versus Surfer and the Gambit Juiceco. Well, they're all Juiceco, but that Juiceco Gambit is crazy. Like, I mean, since that. Go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I remember, like as a kid going through those cards and the characters I either never heard of or I didn't really collect. I was like, wow, like I love this card. You know?
Yeah. That's a dope set. Do you put a priority? With that being said, on like '90s more vintage kind of sets, or whatever comes your way?
The highest priority by far is '90s to me, for sure.
Yeah.
Stuff is like, okay, cool. Love it. It's fun. I collect it, but it just doesn't have that special, whatever you want to call it, you know?
Yeah. The secret sauce.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, like, as you know, the hobby's slowly but surely growing, and especially now that Upper Deck is releasing consistent new product.
Yeah.
It's tough to not only to chase everything and have all the cards like you mentioned, but also like I still prefer some of the older sets by far.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, and even breaking into the 2000s, it's not all 90s, but like the Rittenhouse stuff, right? Like
the Rittenhouse products. Yeah,
the Fleer retros, obviously, but not for what everybody knows them for, mainly, which is like the PMGs and Chambalayas, but the Impel retro cards are my favorite.
Man, those are awesome. Yeah.
Like that one that you have behind you, that 2013 Wolverine, a 9.5.
Yeah,
that card is crazy. I periodically I'll look up the pop reports on some of these cards, but I mainly stick to just PSA and Beckett just to look at those pop reports.
Yeah,
and that card is like mainly 9s, and there's 0-10s on the PSA 10, and you probably have 1 or 2 9.5s. But that's a card, that's why, going back to my question earlier, that's why I was asking you about the subgrades, because I have noticed, at least personally, that for me, that's a great example, because if there's no 10s and there's 1 or 2 9.5s, but they're not true gems, I'm more than happy to just take the 9. Yeah. Right? Because my OCD gets me thinking, is that really a 9.5 or a 10, or did the grader wake up in a great mood that day? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it completely. Yeah.
Which one of the two do you prefer for that Impel Wolverine? The 15 by Segovia or that one by Chum?
God, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, that one's dope.
I'm gonna go with that one. Yeah.
The same thing with the 2015 the Stuart Amonin, right? Like, some people, I thought it was pretty clear cut that most people, it's like a consensus that it's a dope card, but some Wolverine fans don't hold it as a high regard as we do. Shout out to Josh, you're a Marvel bro. Like, he loves that artwork as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnny, shout out to Johnny. He thinks it's okay, but he doesn't think it's like top 5 artworks for Wolverine, at least for Marvel cards.
And just Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't he go heavy more in the 90s anyway too?
Yeah.
On top of that?
As well, yeah. And you could tell, saying, I think it's a little bit harder to tell on Beckett, just unless you have the card close up.
Mm-hmm.
But with PSA, you could tell he's been collecting for a while, because they're all old certs.
Good point. Yeah.
And the label's a little, some of them, if you remember back then, they would crimple a little bit, or they didn't have the scan QR code in the back. So that's one of the tells,
Yeah, you're right.
Just curious, man, what are your top 5 sets for you? If you could only, condense it to 5 sets.
Yeah, the 92 Uncanny X-Men hologram set and all 9.5 is up there for sure, man. That's up there. The 96 Masterpiece. Now, you're talking about that I have in Gem In, or just overall?
Overall. Like,
okay. Yeah. 92. How many did you say I have to narrow down to?
5.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. No particular order, because that would take a lot more time, right?
Yeah. No.
92 Masterpieces, base and inserts. 96 Masterpieces, base and inserts. The hologram, like I said, the 92 Uncanny X-Men hologram. the 90 Impel hologram set only. I love the base set, but I'm not going to put it in my top 5. The 2013, I only say this because of the Wolverine, the 2013 PMGs, but you know, it's just the rarity in the Wolverine, you know, and I just love everything about that. And I got one more. I'm going to go with the 94. Man, I can't think of the name of it. I'm drawing a blank. 94 Marvel Universe. I think it's the Power Blast.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ones that have the Pepsi version. Is that what you're talking about?
No, that's 95. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about 94 Pepsi. 95 Pepsi for sure. Yeah.
That's it. Those are great sets, man. I enjoy all of those. Honestly, I would do, if I had to, mine wouldn't be so much like a specific, like the whole set, and more like kind of when you narrowed it down to the holograms. For me, it would be 95 Emotions. Oh, that would be one. 96 Double Impacts.
Yeah.
It would be the 92 Battle Spectras. If we're only doing that, let me throw in a couple of new ones then. I'll do the 2013 Retro Impel and the 2015 Retro Impels.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, those are they're just, for whatever reason, even though on the 2013 and 15s they're newer sets, just like you said, like that has some of the secret sauce lingering from the Impel 90 set, so it feels the same. Same with the Stutzy cards, right? Like those promos feel similar. Yeah. The backs aren't as nice because, as you know, they create a little puzzle piece. Yeah. But the front of them, you know, and that's what you're displaying anyway. You're displaying the front, right? You're not, exactly. Some cards look, and that's another thing people don't talk about much, but some cards look really nice at the back of the card. They have great designs, but you know, it's just not something you view on an everyday basis.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, do I see a Gambit 9.5 over there? On your, right there on the left, or your left, if that's your left. I don't know if I'm seeing mirrored. That. Yes. Yeah. What is that one from? Yeah. Yeah,
that's the Pepsi. That is 90. I think it's 95.
Because I got the 9 from you, but there's saying there's no 9.5s on the census. Which one's that one? Is that one? That one's not Mexico. Is that Puerto Rico?
That's a 9.5, and it is the. The Puerto Rico 95 Pepsi Prism.
Yep. Yeah, that one's super nice. In hand.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm super happy with the 9, and you know, you really have to take video of some of these cards just so people could appreciate what they look like, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I try to post one a day on Instagram, but I want to post more, but I don't want to be overwhelming for me or anybody else. So I try to do one a day. You know,
no, one a day I do is good.
I never want to repeat either. You know, so
well, your collection is good enough that you don't have to repeat. You know, one a day keeps the doctor away.
That's good, man. You know? That's it. Yeah, that's it.
I also wanted to ask you, like, what do you, in the last 3 years, you know, obviously specifically during the pandemic, what have you noticed the most changes in the hobby from then till now? Yeah,
big high-end sales, graded cards. Like I sold a Black Label BGS 10 Hulk Battles card that was worth $1 raw. It sold for $7,000. You know, just crazy prices for these Marvel cards, man. That's one of the biggest things I noticed. And then one thing that I didn't really know existed was the community, man. I had no idea this community even existed for Marvel cards. And so just making the friendships and learning about people's, you know, hobbies and what their passion is, character collecting, and just the whole world, I just didn't even know it existed. So
when you were acquiring in your acquiring phase, you really weren't aware, like you mentioned, of like the Marvel groups, none of that?
No clue, man. I had no idea. I was like in my own world, and I would share it with like one or two friends, and they weren't that into it. Like, oh, that's cool, you know?
So when did you start meeting like the Turkey Birdies, the Ovechkin fan, right? Like that's another guy that
Turkey Bird. I'd say we've communicated for years, but we communicated through that website called Flickr, the photo sharing website, and that's where I put all my PC. And so, you know, I did have him, and there was probably one or two other guys out there that I was friends with online, but not through Instagram and not through any other thing besides Flickr and eBay that I can remember. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what are some of your goals that you're still hunting? Right. I think for one, if I had to guess, is still the Jim Lee auto,
Jim Lee.
the Jim Lee Wolverine pack pulled auto.
100%.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I had that in Gem Mint, and a buddy of mine has it now. And I message him every few months, and he might let it go one day. So yeah, that's a high priority. And then to answer your question, I'm trying to finish some sets from the 90s and all 9.5. And there's a lot of them where I'm like 5 to 10% away from completing that whole set. And so that's really, really fun to try to complete those.
So once you complete those, are those part of the collection that's up on eBay for 1.5, or that's separate?
Nope. Every card that I get that goes towards my PC in the Flickr account is just automatically going to be added to that eBay post. Yep.
Oh, that's dope. Okay.
Yeah.
And curious, were you referring to, unless there's someone else that I don't know, were you referring to Ferrari Power?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael. Yeah.
Yeah. I met him earlier on. I've never really formally spoken to him, but via eBay when I first got into the hobby. Yeah.
He's one of those guys that I'm happy for him. He got a lot of cards from me that, and I did the same from other people, that before COVID hit, right? Pennies on the dollar. And now he's got all these cards that I got graded that I'm like, please, Michael, what do I got to do to get back? And every now and then he'll trade or sell me one. So
yeah. Now, if you don't mind asking, like, what made you let go of that at the time? Because even at the time, there was no other ones graded, not even 9s.
To make it bigger of a point, I guess, it wasn't just letting go of the Marvel collection. It was letting go of the second largest graded Jordan collection in the world. Oh. And at the time, I mean, if I had held on to those, we're talking 5 to 10 million, like without, like, easy. And so to answer your question, a divorce, man, a divorce.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Hey, that was 9 years ago. It's all good now.
Yeah. No, but I mean, just like you said, like that, I have a shout out to Collection Kings. He's been around the Rittenhouse stuff since like 2013, 2014. Yeah. And he tells me some of these nightmare stories he had. Yeah. He had a couple of the PMG purples and blues for Miles that would sit on eBay for $300 and nobody was buying them.
Yeah.
And now then when he sees some of these sales now, like to your point on the high end, he almost wants to throw up and he gets nauseous. You know what I mean?
So the red Wolverine PMG 2013, right? I graded that Gem Mint, sold it to a friend of mine for like $60 in 2016, 2015, 2016. I know. And then I just acquired it back and I gave him $10,000 to $15,000 worth of cards in trade, and it was worth it.
That's a great card. Yeah, that's a staple. Like if you're a Wolverine fan, like yourself, I still not been able to lock one down. Yeah. I had a couple opportunities early on with shout out to Stacking Gems, right? Charles, he had the BGS 8.5 blue, and I was trying to work a trade with him at the time for the Miles Royal Foil out of 10. And which at the time it was a decent trade. I ended up moving that Miles for 11,000.
Nice.
So
man.
it was right. That was my high sell. I mean, I'm not in the 30,000s or anything yet.
Hey, 11 strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Considering I had picked up that one on auction for like 450 or something early in 2020. Yeah. But I still, that's one that's a nightmare that I haven't been able to get. And then also the one I'm over was the Lucky 8 Venom.
Oh, wow.
And recently I think Scandell paid like close to 10K for that card. But
really?
Raw. Yeah. Or it might have been a PSA 8. No, that's Mickey Precious Metal Gems who has the PSA 8 version of it. So it is raw. Yeah. But that's if you're a Venom fan, to me that's over even the Exquisite Venom, because the Exquisite Venom is nice, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm not a big fan of the nameplates. I like more the ones with the awesome 90s fonts.
No doubt, I agree 100%. I mean, believe me, I'll take a nameplate and try to collect it. I'm not. Yeah, it's not as aesthetically pleasing or something. Yes. I don't know how to put it, right? Like,
it's not uniform. It stands out. Yeah. Right. Like, So there's a lot of great Wolverine cards. That's one. But I interrupted you. So the first one would be the Jim Lee that you're still after. What other ones are still missing for you, Wolverine wise?
Oh, the Dark Claw 3D Batman Wolverine promo and the insert, that 3D, both of those
Yeah, like
Love.
lenticular one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Definitely. Those are high up on my list. The 94 Ultra X-Men Wolverine crippled insert card in Gem Mint.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you a couple of those? Yeah.
I have.
Nice.
Yep. Johnny sent me a raw ungraded copy, and it's on its way to Beckett. So we'll see. It looks good, but I don't know. I think it's a 9, but it could gem if the guy's asleep that day or not paying attention. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you a fan of the 95 Marvel Masterpieces Patelis Wolverine that only made it into the lenticular or Mirage card, as they
I
call it?
have that in a 9 that I just got a couple of months ago. Yes.
Yeah, that artwork is awesome. I'm upset that it didn't make it into like an emotion.
Yeah, that would have been incredible in the
Right?
base set and the emotion. Yeah, yeah.
Because it reminds me, it has a little bit of the 92 Jusco that we were talking about.
Yep.
Right? Where you hardly see him without the mask and like more of like he looks more like Beast than Wolverine, right?
Yeah. More wild and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, savage. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
that's a good one. That's a good one, man.
There's more, man. It's just trying to come up with this off the top
On the
of my
spot.
mind. Yeah. But there's definitely more. Definitely. Yeah.
And now I think you had mentioned in the past that going back to that Cribs episode, by the way, the reason I want to thank Spidey for that as well is because in that video was when I was finding Waldo in that video, and I found that Magneto emotion. That Magneto, that's where I saw. That's how I knew you owned it.
Okay.
Because I had seen that in the video, and like I said, I'm a huge fan of the emotions, especially Patelis. And when I saw that, I'm like, man, I need to reach out to Michael one day. But I didn't have anything, as you know, in this hobby, right? Like most collectors don't really care about the money as much as they care about, can you replace something that's as rare as what I'm giving you, right?
No doubt. Yeah.
So
with obvious the rare exception of if the money gets too crazy big, then they care.
Correct.
Right,
yeah, but then I'll take the money.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, man, what I need to get something to do that trade with Michael, and thankfully you were able to help me acquire that card because it does have a PSA 10 and I believe a few 9s in the PSA side, but the way that card looks in a Beckett slab,
dude,
it's like not many cards look that good.
Love it, man. That was a tough one to let go. I don't regret it, and I'm happy you have it.
And if I ever move it, I keep my word. I'm reaching out to you before I even make it available. Yeah.
Thank you. Long-term goal, I want the emotion set in gem, but that's long-term, So
yeah. A lot of people don't understand, man, the emotions, especially because you're not even guaranteed every character an emotion. Like there's 150 or 151, whatever it is, and if there's only 24 packs, you're only pulling out 24 emotions.
Right, exactly.
Like how many boxes do you need to, just doing the math, it's too many, and now the biggest issue, as you know, with those boxes, they're bricked.
Yeah, I mean, I've not yet found one that's bricked, but I know that they exist. I personally haven't opened it, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
But thankfully.
Oh, nice. And have you still haven't been able to 9.5 the Surfer double impact, or have you now?
No.
So that's another one that's up there for you.
I definitely. Oh yeah, anything to help complete the 96 insert sets, way up there for me. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Let me think about what other thing I had. I had a couple, but too many things are coming to mind, like you said, and I don't want to rush. But
no, it's okay. Yeah.
What was I going to mention to you? Oh yes, shows. Do you plan on attending any shows this year?
Yeah, man, I'm going to the Dallas Card Show in July. I think it's July 19th, if I remember correctly.
Now, when you're going out to these shows, how far ahead are you, like organizing for it, looking up comps? And because one of the things I really like about the way you set up your tables is you have like these little stickers, and they're either black and gold or gold and black, right? And you have it on all your slabs, and that's pretty neat.
I found a really cool label maker thing with that. Like you said, the black and gold. It kind of reminds me of a black label, Beckett black label, right? So setup is probably about a month and a half ish out, and then I'm not really. You said looking at comps, putting the numbers in all of them, and I want to have a big range from the $30 slabs to the tens of $1,000 slabs, So
I remember one of the things that stuck out for me watching that. I think one of the only shows that's on YouTube with your setup on it was one of the Dallas shows. I feel it was either last year or the year prior, but
year before, yeah.
You traded someone for the BGS 95 Battle Spectra Venom versus Carnage card.
Definitely. Yep.
Right. That was. I'm sure you're happy to still have that, right? Like, yeah, you turned over and looked at it. So
Yeah, I
that's
got
still in
it.
the collection, right?
Yep. Yep. It is. Yep.
Do you still also hold the 95 hologram from Magneto, where he's like floating in like a meditation pose?
Yes. God, I love that card. That's a card that I would 100% let go of if it was the right amount without getting too crazy. That's a tough one too to value, man. A gem mint. Yeah. Yeah. 10 grand, I'd probably let it go for. It's probably worth 5. Any ideas?
Yeah. I don't look, to be honest with you, I was early on the emotions or on the holograms, and I had the Spider-Man. I sold that. I believe I sold mine raw for 2,500. It had a little speckle on the forehead of Spidey, so I didn't think it was gonna get a higher grade. And shout out to Obi, he got a grade and it came back a 9.
Wow.
So he ended up selling it for 5 grand.
Wow.
But that was during peak. Yeah, I don't know now. Now you see a lot of these holograms are up. I'm missing the Gambit and the Magneto are the only 2 I'm chasing now. I have the Wolverine is nice, but it's not crazy to me. The Bianchi one is nicer than the other version, in my opinion, because there's 2 Wolverines. But the nicer ones from that set was the Hulk, the Moon Knight, and that Spider-Man. To me, those were the nicest looking ones.
If you so you're still hunting the beginnings Magneto hologram
and the Gambit. There's a PSA 8 on eBay and a raw for the Gambit.
Yeah, and
I think comps are now anywhere from like 500 to 1,000 on the nicer ones. It's just that people's attention span, like they're focusing on something, and maybe for like 2 to 3 months it's something that's going to be hot, and then the next Marvel set comes out and all of a sudden they forget, and then you see those prices drop.
It's so true. So true. Well, I don't know, we can talk about this after the show or whatever. Yeah, I'm open to trading that card. If you got some good ones or a good one, we can trade. So
awesome. Yeah, and I also got to get we spoke, Josh reached out to me, Doom, and Sergio about being on with you guys and hopefully collaborating on some kind of video. By the way, that's something that I wanted to do with you a while back, and hopefully we can still work on something like that in the future. But the slab off, do you remember that Josh that was my idea? Josh knows, but I ended up not able to do it, because at the time I was heavy in Wolverine. And up until he picked up that diamond relic, that's when he just surpassed me. We were like right there in the Wolverine. We had all the cards, and I was like, "Hey man, it'd be cool if we do like a slab off, just so people could see like the different artworks that are out there."
So fun. We got to do that again. Let's just do that too when y'all join the show next. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Other than that, I know you got to go today, Mike, but we'll do another video if you're down. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your contribution to the hobby, and I appreciate that you're always supporting Beckett, because there's a lot of Beckett haters out there.
Yeah, and I hate it, but if that's to each his own.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a Beckett fan, but that's okay if people don't understand that it's a 9.5 Beckett. No matter the subs are just as good as a PSA 10. That's okay. They don't get it yet. The masses don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I think more than anything, just the build quality. They feel like a tank. Yeah, and the fact that they have the inner sleeve, I feel like my card is a little bit more protected and not rattling inside the case.
I can't tell you how many PSA 10s I've gotten in the mail trying to convert them to Beckett 9.5s, and I'll put them back on eBay and sell them or trade them, because like you're saying, the card was damaged because it's been shipped so much, right? And it shakes and so
that's something, going back to what you were saying, like I know you're getting going on the videos and all that, but that would be something awesome, an awesome series you should do, which is, show what you're picking up that are 10s that you're, trying to cross over. I feel like you've done a couple of those reels, but I don't know if you've done a full-on video of it.
I've done awesome. 1 or 2 little videos on it, but I need to do 100% need to do that. I love stuff like that. Like this one, I cracked this out of a PSA 10, right? Mm-hmm. And it came back a 9. And so I'll just crack this and send it back to PSA,
Now, that's my question. That what you just said, that's what I still don't wrap my head around. And when is it like is there like a point of diminishing returns where you're paying, you know what I mean? Like you're paying to get it graded, it comes back, and then you're paying again.
Yeah.
And then, like
every now and then I just take the loss and don't get it graded. I'm like, all right, I lost some money. It's okay. Every now and then it's a bad feeling, but that does happen. And then, yeah, I don't like throwing good money after bad. And so if I don't see that it's going to be worth it, I definitely won't do it. So,
awesome.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Michael, well, thanks again, man. I appreciate your time. Anything you want to shout out before we end it?
I mean, really just, you know, if anybody's into Marvel cards and you want to trade or you want to just talk, message me. And like, it's like, I love being on your show and I like talking about it. And so I just try to be real approachable, just because the community and it's fun. And so anybody want to build a set or character collect or just talk trading, just reach out to me. So,
yeah, no, 100%. Anybody, if you want to give Beckett a shot and see and handle the difference, reach out to Michael. He has a dope collection on eBay. Anything you want to pick up, he always works with you if it's, you know, within reasonable means.
yeah.
But other than that, man, again, appreciate you joining me, and hopefully it's one of many videos to come.
Hopefully. Thank you, man, for having me. Seriously.
Thank you. Have a great day. Appreciate it, man.